The piece I analyzed is the first period of the first movement of Schumann's No. 1 A minor violin sonata, Op. 105. My main topic is to use the concept of phrase rhythm, metric dissonance studied in this course to discuss the first period of the first movement of Schumann's No. 1 A minor violin sonata. Before the analysis, I will briefly introduce Schumann and the influence of his compositional style on the compositions. Schumann Robert, 1810 to 1856. Although best known for his piano music and songs, as well as some of his symphonies and chamber works, Schumann made major contributions to all the music genres of his time and forced several new ones. His interest in both music and literature led to a style of composition with historical roots in music criticism and deeply rooted in literary moods. As a leading figure in music romanticism, he had a powerful influence on later generations of European composers. This work was composed in 1851, in mid-September and early November, before the Schumann's rest in Dusseldorf from 1815 to 1854. Schumann suffered from severe insomnia and mental anguish during his last weeks in Berlin, but eventually got better. After settling down, Schumann became conductor of orchestra and the chorus, and despite his complaints of rheumatism in his feet, he was soon engaged in new compositions. Next is a brief statement of basic concepts. Phrase rhythm, the combination of phrase structure and hypermeter. What is a phrase? As Ronstein states that we should think about both melodic motion and harmonic motion, and he said if there is no motion, there is no phrase. Hypermeter usually slow and large. Beginnings of phrases usually get dumpy in the hypermeter. Metrical dissonance, which means have non-alignment between levels of pulse in the meter. There are two main metrical dissonance, grouping dissonance and displacement dissonance. The example of grouping dissonance is hemiolar. For displacement is syncopation. To further break down, there are direct dissonance and indirect dissonance. When two levels happen simultaneously, it is direct, otherwise it's indirect. Next is the first part of the analysis, the phrase rhythm. First is phrases and motifs. These examples are composed of two overlapping phrases. Each phrase consists of the basic three motifs: X with comma after top, Y and links marked on the score. The second phrase, which is downbeat of major 12, does not reach the desired perfect authentic cadence. It is not enough to determine it as a period. Therefore, the two phrases are the full phrase A from major 1 to 7 and the after phrase B from major 6 to 12. As I marked on the score, this is where the first phrase overlaps. Throughout A and B, the violin and the piano take turns playing same. Another obvious overlap of phrases occurs at measure 11, where the piano part and the violin melody overlapped. The right hand of the piano part at measure 11 is marked with a crescendo, which has a sense of urgency, and the violin's sforzando opening with the crescendo throughout the bar amplify the sense of urgency. Second is hypermeter. Hypermeter's downbeat usually happens at the beginning of the phrase. In this example, however, the beginning of the phrase, which is measure 1, begins with the pianissimo. When we consider the hypermeter, we would expect a downbeat with a strong beat. So the downbeat of the hypermeter starts at the downbeat of the measure 2. According to Aubrey's phrase overlap and the same downbeat as before mentioned, the hypermeter are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as are marked on the score. The metrical reinterpretation appears at measure 11. It shows 5/1 marked on the score. Next is another main topic, metrical dissonance. In this example, the metrical dissonance is created by the two non-aligned levels, 2-level and 3-level, circled in blue on the score. One determined by the violin melody, the other by the right hand of the piano. Because of the two interpretive levels at a different number, it is grouping dissonance, and it is direct grouping dissonance. In the second measure, the 6 eighth notes of the mean metrical layer are resembled in 3 groups of 2 eighth notes. This hemiola is a distinctive metrical feature of this piece, occurs several times throughout the whole movement. The hemiola underlines the nervousness of the musical atmosphere by destroying the sense of metrical stability. Now let's listen. Measure 9. Okay, my conclusion is Schumann's use of overlapping phrases, irregular accents, and hemiola creates a first period full of tension, unrest, and instability. As he marked on the score with passion and expressive for this movement, the performance should be richly expressive, enables the full expression of emotional tension. Schumann expresses the change of mood through specific compositional techniques like phrase overlap, metrical reinterpretation, and hemiola. The analysis in terms of phrase rhythm and metrical dissonance also illustrates the characteristics of the style of piece, answering the question of rhythmic confusion at the beginning. I hope that the understanding gained in the analysis can be interpreted more fully in the performance. The first period I analyzed for my long paper is from major 1 to the downbeat of major 27, but for the presentation I only took the major 1 to major 12, the first page. And thank you, that's all.